Natsume Sōseki, 10 Nights of Dreams, translated by Michael Bourdaghs. The first night. This is the dream I had. I'm sitting by her pillow, arms folded. The woman lies face up, saying in a quiet voice that she's about to die. Her long hair is spread out across the pillow, framing the soft outlines of her oval face. A healthy flush of warm blood shows beneath her white cheeks. Her lips are a natural red. She looks nothing like someone about to die. Yet in her quiet voice the woman clearly said she was going to die. And I too felt certainly she might die. "Is that so?" I asked, peering down at her. "Are you about to die?" "I am sure of it. I will die," said the woman, opening her lovely eyes. They were large and moist, black dots encircled by long lashes. Floating vividly in the depths of those black pupils was my own reflection. I gazed at those lustrous black eyes, so deep as to seem transparent, and wondered, could she really die? Lowering my mouth to her pillow, I once more entreated her. "You will not die, right? You will be fine, right?" The woman, her black eyes ever so sleepy, spoke once more in that quiet voice. "I will die. It cannot be helped." "In that case," I asked fervently, "tell me, can you see my face?" "Of course I see it," she said, smiling. "Is it not reflected here in my eyes?" I felt silent and lifted my face from the pillow. I folded my arms again and wondered if she really must die. A moment passed before the woman spoke once more. "When I die, please bury me. Dig my grave with the shell of a great pearl oyster. Use a fragment of a star fallen from the heavens as a marker. And then wait by the grave, for I will come to you again." I asked her when she would come again. "The sun will rise, the sun will set, then it will rise and set again. As the red sun travels from east to west, from east to west. Will you wait?" I nodded in silence. Raising her soft voice, the woman spoke in a decisive tone. "You must wait 100 years. For 100 years, please wait by my grave. I will come to you again." I replied that I would wait. With that, the image of myself in her pupil, so clear a moment before, turned hazy and began to break up, just as a reflection on still water dissolves when the water ripples. The woman's eye flicked shut. A tear trickled down her cheek from between those long lashes. She was dead. I went down to the garden and dug a hole with a pearl oyster shell. Its long rim was shiny and sharp. With each scoop of dirt, moonbeams glimmered inside the shell. A scent arose from the damp soil. After a while, the hole was deep enough. I placed the woman in it. Then quietly I covered her with the soft dirt. With each scoopful, the interior of the oyster shell glimmered with moonbeams. I picked up a fragment of a fallen star and gently placed it on the dirt. The fragment was round. It occurred to me that its long descent through space must have smoothed its sharp edges. As I placed it on the grave, my arms and hands grew warm. I sat on the mossy ground. "Now I must wait 100 years, I thought to myself, and I folded my arms and gazed at the round gravestone. As I did so, the sun rose in the east, just as the woman said it would. A great red sun it was, and then, again just as the woman had said, it sank in the west. It was still red as it lumbered to its descent. 1, I counted. After a while, the crimson celestial orb again slowly rose, and then silently sank. 2, I counted. 1, 2. As I counted in this manner, I lost count of how many red suns I had seen. No matter how I tried to keep track, red suns beyond counting made their way over my head. And yet it was still not 100 years. Gazing at that round stone, now overgrown with moss, I began to wonder if I had been deceived by the woman. Just then, from beneath the stone, a green stem rose toward me at an angle. As I watched, it grew longer until it reached my chest. A single, slender bud swayed down from the tip of the stem and then luxuriously opened its petals. A pure white lily fluttered gently near the tip of my nose, with a fragrance that touched me to my bones. From far above, drops of dew fell, and the flower began to sway under its own weight. I leaned forward to kiss the white petals dripping with cold dew. The moment I drew back from the lily, I glanced at the distant heavens and spied a single star twinkling in the dawn sky. It was then that I realized 100 years have passed. The second night. This is the dream I had. The lantern flickered when I returned along the corridor from the head priest's quarters to my own room. As I knelt on the floor cushion to adjust the wick, a nub of wax fell onto the lacquer table. In the same instant, the room suddenly glowed with light. The painting on the sliding door was in the hand of Busong. Under black willows near and far, the branches dark and thin, a chilly fisherman makes his way along an embankment, his bamboo hat at an angle. A scroll painting of Bodhisattva Manjushri, crossing the sea, hangs in the Tokonoma alcove. What remains of the incense smoldering in the darkness is fragrant. It is a vast temple, quiet, no sign of people about. The circle of light cast by the round lantern on the black ceiling seemed to come alive the moment I looked up. Lifting one knee, I fell under the floor cushion, and there it was, exactly where I expected it to be. As long as it was still there, everything would be fine. I smoothed the cushion and sat down heavily. "You are a samurai. A samurai must be able to achieve satori," the head priest had said. "Seeing you all like this, still struggling to reach enlightenment after so long, I begin to doubt you are a samurai. You are human garbage," he said. "Ho, ho, now you're mad," he laughed. "If you feel insulted, then bring me proof you've attained satori," he said before abruptly turning away. The nerve. "I'll show him. I'll find enlightenment before the clock on the mantel in the next room chimes again. And once I've attained it, I'll return to his room this very night. And I'll exchange my satori for that priest's head. If I fail to attain enlightenment, I can't take the priest's life. I must attain satori. I am a samurai. And if I can't attain satori, I will take my own life. A disgraced samurai must not live on. I will die without the slightest hesitation." As I pondered these thoughts, my hand once more slipped of its own accord under the cushion. I pulled out the short sword in its red lacquer sheath. Grasping the hilt firmly, I slipped off the vermilion sheath, and the cold blade flashed in the dark room. It felt as if something terrible was straining to escape my hands. My rage was concentrated into its tip. Staring at that point of the dagger, needle sharp, I was seized by the desire to put it to deadly use. All the blood of my body flowed into my right wrist. The hilt glistened with sweat. My lips trembled. Returning the sword to its sheath and placing it to my right, I assumed a meditation posture. The great master Jiao spoke of mu, nothingness. What was this mu? I gritted my teeth. Stupid priest. My back teeth clenched, and hot breath forced its way through my nostrils. My temples cramped with pain. My eyes opened to twice their normal size. I saw the scroll. I saw the lantern. I saw the tatami mats. I could see that priest's head bald as a tea kettle. I could hear that gaping mouth laugh at me. Stupid priest. No matter what, I am going to chop off that tea kettle. I'll show him enlightenment. Mu, mu. I recite the word silently across the root of my tongue. Mu. But then I catch myself noticing the fragrance of the incense. Stupid incense. On blind impulse, I start pounding my head fiercely with my fists. I grip my back teeth with all my might. My armpits drip with sweat. My backbone is stiff as a ramrod. The joints in my knees seem to hurt. They can go ahead and snap in two for all I care, but they hurt. I suffer. Mu refuses to come. Just when I think I'm about to reach it, I am distracted by the pain. I feel angry, vexed, bitter. Tears roll down my face. I am seized by the urge to smash my bones, my flesh, against a great rock. And yet still I persevere in my meditation. The swelling ache in my heart is almost impossible to endure. It pushes through the muscles, desperately seeking a way out through the pores of my skin. But everywhere is blocked. It is blocked. No exit. A cruel, horrible state. My mind shatters. It is as if the lantern and Buson's painting and the tatami mats and the ornamental shelves are both here and not here in the same moment. Still, Mu refuses to show even a glimpse of itself. I am just sitting there like a fool. At that moment, out of the blue, the clock in the next room began to chime. Yes, my right hand instantly gripped the dagger. The clock struck a second time. The third night. This is the dream I had. I am carrying a child about 6 on my shoulders. My child. Strangely, the child's eyes are sightless and its head is shaved like a priest's. I ask, when did you go blind? And the answer comes long, long ago. The voice is unmistakably a child's, but the words are those of an adult. He speaks to me as if he were my equal. To the left and right lie green paddies. The path is narrow. From time to time the shadows of herons punctuate the darkness. We've reached the paddies, haven't we? Said the voice at my back. How do you know? I asked, turning my face to look behind him. Don't you hear the herons cry? Came the answer. Sure enough, just then the herons cried out twice. Although he was my own child, I began to grow somewhat fearful. Carrying this thing on my back, what was it leading to? I began to seek out a place where I might get rid of him. In the darkness ahead I spotted a vast woods. At the very moment when I thought that he might be a good spot, that from behind me came the voice. He. What is so funny? The child made no answer. Instead it asked, Father, am I growing heavy? You are not at all heavy, I replied. Very soon now I will grow heavy. Silent, I walked on toward the woods. The path wound aimlessly through the paddies. It seemed he would never reach the end. After a while we came to a fork in the road, and I paused to take a brief rest. There should be a stone standing here, said the boy. Just as he said, there was a stone guidepost standing there, about waist high. On it was written, left for Higakubo, right for Hottahara. Despite the darkness, the red characters were clearly visible. Their red was like the color of a newt's belly. We should go left, the boy ordered. When I looked to the left, the dark woods cast their shadow far over our heads, as from the high heavens. I hesitated. No need to hold back, the boy said again, and so I could do nothing but resume walking towards the woods. As I approached the woods along the path, I thought to myself, how strange that he seems to know everything though he is blind. Whereupon the voice behind my back said, I am sorry that being blind, I must trouble others for help. It is no trouble, I can carry you. I am sorry to make you carry me, but you should never treat someone like that. How terrible to be treated like that by your own parent. I felt sick of the whole business. Intending to ditch him in the woods at the first opportunity, I hurried forward. Just a little farther, you will know the place. It was a night exactly like this, was it not? Said the voice behind my back, as if speaking to no one. What was? I asked, my voice harsh. Why ask? You already know, the child replied scornfully. When he said that, I began to feel as if, indeed, I did already understand. Yet I could not clearly see what it was. It simply seemed as if it had been exactly this sort of evening. That I would understand it if we went on a little farther, and that to do so would be horrible. So it seemed I must get rid of him quickly, before I knew, to save myself. I sped up my pace. It had been raining for some time. The path grew darker and darker. I was in a daze. The boy clung to my back, a shining mirror that reflected each and every event of my own past, present, and future, omitting nothing. Worse, it was my own child. And blind at that, I could bear it no longer. Here, here, this is the place, by the roots of that cedar tree. I could hear the boy's voice clearly through the rain. I came to a sudden halt. At some point we had entered the woods. A few feet ahead of us I could see something black, the cedar tree just as the boy had said. Father, this was the place, was it not? By the roots of that cedar. Yes, it was, I heard myself replying. It was the year 5 of the Bunka Era, 1808, the year of the dragon, was it not? Yes, it seemed to me. It had been Bunka 5, the year of the dragon. And so it has been exactly 100 years since you murdered me. The moment I heard these words, the realization sprang into my head. Exactly 100 years, in the year of the dragon Bunka 5, by the roots of the cedar tree, I killed a blind boy. And in the instant I realized that I was the murderer. The child on my back became as heavy as a stone statue of Jizo.